China is defending its 53-year relationship with Jamaica, citing more than US $2.1 billion in local investments and the recent disaster relief as evidence of a mutually beneficial partnership. The response comes a week after United States Ambassador to Jamaica nominee Carrie Lake told a U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing that she intends to counter China's influence in Jamaica.
If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated is a missile with all the warheads. We call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope.
What happens when the two of the world's biggest superpowers start competing over a small country like Jamaica? Is Jamaica really in control of its own future, or is it being pulled in different directions by the superpower nations? So guys, today we want to talk about a very important topic that could shape Jamaica's future for many years to come. So this video is about the growing competition between the United States and China and why Jamaica has suddenly become part of this global story. So guys, remember, if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and also comment and like the video. So watch this video out, then I'll come later with more comments.
Jamaica has also been the largest recipient of Chinese investments in the Caribbean. How has that experience worked out for you?
China's been very good to Jamaica. And China's been a very good infrastructure development partner. We benefited from Chinese investment and Chinese loans, particularly during the period of time when there was a global recession, 2008 to 2010. And we used that to support the development of infrastructure, particularly our highways. And that has been an economic boom for us. But in terms of our debt profile, Chinese debt is approximately about 4% of Jamaica's overall debt. What we encourage is greater investment from China, and we're seeing that in many areas, particularly in infrastructure, construction particularly.
One of your ministers said that some of those investments and loans came at a time when the U.S. was busy doing other stuff.
I think the U.S., there's always the fear of Chinese influence in the region. But a large part of that is the attention the United States pays to its backyard, pays to the countries that are part of its third border.
Do you think the wars that we have ongoing right now are distracting the U.S. focus from the region?
I think that the United States has great bandwidth. I think it has to be. It's a global superpower. So it's really a matter of where it sees its strategic interest and how it sees its third border, the Caribbean, as strategic in its global perspective. I think not enough attention is being paid to the region.
China is defending its 53-year relationship with Jamaica, citing more than US $2.1 billion in local investments and the recent disaster relief as evidence of a mutually beneficial partnership. The response comes a week after United States Ambassador to Jamaica nominee Carrie Lake told a U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing that she intends to counter China's influence in Jamaica. Protesters clad in yellow gathered in Crossroads, St. Andrew this morning to oppose the government's agreement with the United States to temporarily receive third country nationals, while also calling for Government Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley's resignation following adverse findings by the Integrity Commission. The timeline for the full restoration of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, St. James, has been pushed back from September 2026 to March 2027. However, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton told the media Monday that he is pushing for the work to be completed before the end of this year. Aid groups warned today that Venezuela's fragile healthcare system is being pushed to its limits nearly a week after two powerful earthquakes. Deteriorating conditions in the disaster zone are also increasing the risk of infectious disease outbreaks. In sports, MVP Track Club has confirmed that its co-founder and technical director Stephen Francis is ill. In a statement this morning, club president Bruce James said Francis is receiving medical care in hospital and asked the public to respect the family's privacy. In your currency trading at midday today, $1 was being sold for $158.22, the British pound sterling for $212.61, and the Canadian dollar for $113.08. In your weather forecast, Wednesday morning will be mainly sunny. In the afternoon, expect isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly across central and western parishes.
Thank you. It's great to be with all of you today. And Ms. Lake, as you know, I've enjoyed getting to know you better. If I'm honest, I knew you from your persona, and you and I had really never met. And I've spent a lot of time trying to get to know the real Kari Lake. And I'm grateful for the visit you made to my office and for the chance that we've had to talk about a number of issues. So I'm somewhat satisfied on a lot of those questions and would like to turn my attention today to Jamaica and particularly China. We've heard today about drugs, about gangs, but also equally concerning to me is China and their relationship in Jamaica. The Chinese ambassador in Jamaica said in May that President Xi Jinping emphasized that Jamaica is a strategic partner of China. What's your assessment of China's strategic objectives in Jamaica, and really what are their true motives there?
Thank you, Senator Curtis. And yes, thank you for the time that you afforded me in your office. I enjoyed getting to know you as well. I had never met you before, and I sometimes have to go and prove to people I don't have horns growing out of my head because the media has done a number on me. So thank you for giving me the chance.
As I mentioned, as a Utahn, sometimes we have that same problem.
The media is tough there, too, huh?
Well, people thinking we have horns.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, and you're our neighbor, Utah. We love Utah. We have a lot of good friends who live there as well. So thank you so much. I think I'm learning a lot more about it. I don't know as much as you, and I appreciate your service on the Western Hemisphere Committee as the chairman. And we talked a little bit about it, but there's massive concerns, not just from their strategy of taking a huge section of the ports, but also when you look at the 5G and the telecom, with Huawei expanding, it's very concerning what could happen. You know, there's always strings attached with China, and the question is, do you want all of the information going through Huawei, where you all of a sudden would have that information being trickled back to the CCP and China? There are massive concerns, and as this need right now to rebuild has created a lot of opportunity for companies to come in, I'd rather see, and I know you would and everybody here, American companies coming in to assist, not the continued increase of Chinese companies.
So speaking of that, as you know, a Chinese firm won a major contract for the Kingston port expansion in 2025. What questions should the U.S. be asking about data access, port resilience, logistics, and dual-use risks?
When it comes to ports or when it comes to telecom?
Well, in this case, specifically the port.
The port. You know, from what I've been briefed on, some of the concerns are when they're controlling and seeing everything that's coming in, it puts at a great risk for America, for our security. When they have access and control over everything coming into the country, there are huge risks. And I think the Department of War is probably looking closely at that. I'm looking forward to getting more briefings on this. As you know, everything I've been briefed on is what's publicly available. And as I learn more, I'd be happy to meet with you, or if you want to share concerns, I'd be happy to listen in.
You have a unique background in communications. How can you use that background to work with Jamaica and help them see exactly what comes with the Chinese relationship versus the U.S. relationship?
You know, a lot of, if you're not putting out your story, somebody else is. And the Americans have done such great work with our partners in Jamaica. They're our neighbors. We have a great relationship. We're culturally more similar than China is with Jamaica. And we need to tell the people what we're doing. We were on the ground in massive numbers after the hurricane. The U.S. military put out 133 flights in the hours after the hurricane struck. And we brought in almost 500, I think 480 some humanitarian and relief workers. We brought in search and rescue crews, heavy equipment to move debris off of roads. There were entire communities that were cut off. And sadly, many deaths, 45 deaths, and many, many others were hurt. 250,000 people were displaced and needed housing. America was there. We need to tell that story. We will continue to be there. But we cannot continue to watch as China makes huge moves right here in our front yard.
If you're confirmed, I would love to see you use all that expertise and talent to get that story out and help the United States get the credit and make sure that the blinders are off on China. I'm out of time, and I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Curtis.
So people, on a sister war, go to Jamaica, big war. You know, sister Donald Trump want peace at Jamaica now like the Chinese. Hey! I wonder how 1 p.m. I go work out the one here. Knowing say 1 p.m. cannot say no to Donald Trump. And the Chinese then come invest a lot and build up and do a lot in our country. So, me no know how 1 p.m. I go do this a one year now. Eh? How him I go tell Donald Trump no? So war go there Jamaica, whether I don't like it or not. Because 1 p.m. cannot tell Donald Trump no. And I'm sure the Chinese government is going to get involved in this war once Donald Trump come overthrow them. Right? So, may the best person win this war. Because war is on the way for Jamaica. Oh yeah. But only thing they say, if the Chinese, if the US can come in, come pay, better minimum wage, make minimum wage go up to at least $30,000. Well, me I go say, you know what? USA deserve piece of the pie. Because under 1 p.m. with the Chinese them, because the Chinese they not really pay good. So under 1 p.m. and the Chinese them, it's like a Jamaican people then in a slaves. In a slave. Right? So if one can come in, come put some pressure for our government. Say, okay, Jamaican people, they need to pay better than 100 US a week. Well, we shall see. But only thing me say, gear up for war. But I hope say all the squatters them get tackle for them land before this war start. Yes. Alright? Have a nice day.
One political commentator believes Jamaica will have to keep dancing between the raindrops when it comes to its relationship between China and the United States. China has been integral to Jamaica's development, with Chinese companies such as China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, responsible for major infrastructure projects like the Southern Coastal Highway, which links Kingston and St. Thomas, and the $45 billion Spark program being rolled out. However, there has been growing tension between China and the United States. That matter was put to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday during his official visit to Jamaica.
What problems, if any, does America have with China's investment in Jamaica?
Our problem with is not investment. Okay? Our problem is predatory practices. That's what we're concerned about. What we have seen all over the world is that China comes in and says, here's a bunch of money for a project they never build. They bring their own workers to do the work. They don't hire the locals. They bring their own workers. And oftentimes it comes attached with a huge loan that can never be repaid, and now they hold it over your head forever. That's our concern. Our concern is unfair practices, too, where they come in, they're government-subsidized companies, underbid everybody, because they're subsidized, but then they come back and charge you whatever they want because now they've got the contract. So these are the things that we remain very concerned about. Again, not specifically about Jamaica, but in general.
And the response from the Secretary of State indicates that at this point in time, Jamaica has not offended the United States and has not been an enabler of these kinds of negative practices by China. I'm pleased with that, and I also want for that to be the case going forward. What this means is that Jamaica's engagement with China going forward must be such that we don't allow China to exploit, to expropriate Jamaica's benefits rather to themselves to the detriment of Jamaica.
Commentator Jermaine Barrett there, who adds that Jamaica has to be careful it does not offend the U.S.
And that is how it is that small island developing states like Jamaica must respond and engage with the world, particularly recognizing that there are strong powers in the world that could put the squeeze on us. So I think that is a pivotal point that we have to be considerate of, and just continue to dance between the raindrops and see to it that Jamaica's best interest is served, that Jamaica can be friends of China and America, despite the fact that neither country are friends of each other at this time.
Just after a comment where the U.S. ambassador made, because she made the talk that China hold 40% of the wharf, and when time she become the ambassador, she go look for strangle and remove out China. But not only that, this come right after the heels when the US said they're going to send them own inspector for come down here, for come inspect the wharf and everything. But my question, where even media made, show me the road were made in Jamaica by US. There's not one road, not one highway. Where is the US investment in infrastructure in Jamaica? There is not one. The upper Hope Garden, they have a Chinese part where Chinese built one entrance place will look beautiful. If you ever go up there, you know where it called. I don't remember where it called. Show me the building of beautification and beauty that the US has done. China invests so much money in the wharf and also is the largest manufacturer of the entire product. Show me what product we are manufacturing at the US that is cheap, that is affordable for the regular person. Me say to some people say, yo, the way the US are going, it a plan to strangle Jamaica and send it back in the dark ages. Because the progress them what China make, even though the road, them own it for 57 years and all the money I fight. But me rather that. But it is no surprise. I'm kind of glad that China respond. I'm glad that China respond. Because as much as US is our closest neighbor, and some will even say our closest ally, which I don't know about that. There's no progress for US do for the world. China have the Road and Belt program to help build up infrastructure. Yes, there are countries that take the infrastructure from China and cannot pay it off. So China take land. Show me any infrastructure where the US built since the last 30 to 50 years. You know, I can show you what US do for the entire world? Drop bombs. That's the only thing US is going to do, is going to drop bombs. US don't have nothing to do with the world to improve people's life or nothing. Me don't even tell you, say, yo, them eat them own people over here. Them people here eat them own people. So don't think this close relationship with this ambassador we have come. But then again, I don't have nothing to say, because we already know say we as black people is our biggest hatred of our own people. Because we can't live for me say Jamaica send back so much asylum seeker from Haiti, and then I shove it down our throat that we have to go take the asylum seeker. But as I said, I'm glad to China answer. Come here, wait.
Now guys, around the world, many countries are paying close attention to the relationship between the United States and China. These two countries are not only competing in business and technology, but also for influence in different parts of the world. I've been seeing these China people and also the American people moving from their country to go and invest in other people's country. So in Jamaica, we have been seeing a lot of video. So the Caribbean has now become one of the most important regions, and Jamaica is right at the center of this discussion. Recently, there has been strong comments from America readers about China's growing presence in Jamaica. Officials from the United States have raised concern that China is becoming too influential through major investment projects. We have been seeing a lot of investors, a lot of foreign people moving from Jamaica are moving from China to come into Jamaica and invest there, and whereby these people, when they move, the government gives them support whereby they are able to work for even up to 5 years without paying tax. They argue that some Chinese loans and businesses deals may create long-term problems for countries that borrow money. According to the American position countries, to the American position, countries should be careful not to become too dependent on foreign financing that could increase debt or reduce their ability to make independent decisions. Another concern from the United States involves technology. American officials have repeatedly warned about Chinese telecommunications companies, saying there could be risks related to cybersecurity and the protection of sensitive information. They believe countries should carefully consider who builds their communication network and digital infrastructure. But when we look at the situation from Jamaica's point of view, the picture becomes much more complicated. China has been working with Jamaica for many for Jamaica for than 5 decades. During this time, billions of dollars have been invested in roads. We have highways, we have bridges, we have ports, and other infrastructure projects. This development has or have helped improve transportation and support economic growth. A larger construction projects have changed many parts of the country and have created opportunities for development that may have taken much longer without the outside investment. Also, we have been seeing business growing and also people being employed in Jamaica when these investors they come to their country. So many Jamaicans see these projects as a real progress because when we have these people coming to our country, when we have these China people coming to our country, even though they bring they usually bring development of which some of the people don't want. Many Jamaicans see these projects as a real progress. They look at the highways, the improvement of ports, and other completed developments and ask a simple question: if these projects are helping the country grow, why should Jamaica stop working with China? At the same time, not everyone is completely satisfied. Some people believe that more local workers should be employed on foreign funded projects. Other question whether Jamaica is receiving the best possible deals or whether some agreements are transparent enough. They are also concerned that certain developments have become difficult for ordinary Jamaicans to access, creating the feeling that local people are not always benefiting as much as they should. These concerns have led many citizens to ask greater accountability from the government. They want leaders to clearly explain the agreement being signed with foreign partners. They want to know how much is being borrowed, how the money is being spent, and what benefits Jamaica is receiving over the long term. One interesting phrase often used to describe Jamaica's position is the country must dance between the raindrops. This simply means Jamaica has to maintain good relationship with both the United States and China without choosing sides unnecessarily. This is not an easy talk. The United States has been one of the Jamaica's closest partners for many years. The two countries share strong economic ties, security cooperation. We have tourism, trade, and large Jamaica diaspora living in America. Thousands of Jamaica families have relatives in the United States, making the relationship deeply connected beyond politics. On the other hand, China has become one of Jamaica's largest investment or investors funding projects that many believe are helping modernize the country's infrastructure. Walking away from those investments could also have consequences. So Jamaica find it itself balancing two important relationships at the same time. Many experts believe this balancing act will become even more important in the coming years as competition between the United States and China continues to grow around the world. Jamaica will likely face increasingly pressure from both sides while trying to protect its own national interest. At the end of the day, the biggest question should not be whether Jamaica chooses America or China. The real question is whether our partnership truly benefits the Jamaica people. Are investment creating good or enough jobs for local workers? Are infrastructure projects improving everyday life? Are government agreement transparent and fair? Is Jamaica protecting its independence while welcoming foreign investment? These are the questions that matters most. Every country has the right to build a relationship with different partners, but those relationships should always put the interests of its own citizens first. Development should improve people's lives, create opportunities for young people, strengthen the economy, and leave future generations in a better position. As the global competition continues, Jamaica's leaders will have to make careful decisions. Every agreement signed today could have long-term effects on the country's economy, national security, and the sovereignty. It requires wisdom, transparency, and a clear focus on what is best for the Jamaican people. What do you think about this issue? Should Jamaica continue strengthening its relationship with China, stay closer to the United States, or continue working both countries while remaining neutral? Share your opinion in the comments below. And guys, thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. I do really appreciate a lot. And if you are new here, please don't forget to hit the subscription button and let's build this community together. Otherwise, thanks until the next one.